So we have still 2 matches left. We already talked about the SmackDown women's title match. Do you just want to go into the elephant of the entire pay-per-view?
Yeah.
So, technical masterpiece. It's not here. It is far from being in this match. This match is not a technical masterpiece. Neither of these guys put on a very good wrestling match, in my opinion. Tom, very casual fan. Steve, casual fan, watched this match and said, "This is really sloppy."
I think that was the point, though.
I think it was partially the point, partially because, Roman is this kind of guy who just does his few things, which is good for sometimes. There was definitely a storyline in this match, but Undertaker really was looking like he couldn't do the things he was supposed to be able to do. Like Tom said, like, we should rewatch that match just because I want to see, like, was it good or was it really just this weird, awkward thing? I think there was definitely a storyline in it, though, and I put it this way. Undertaker was Old Yeller, and Roman Reigns was the gun. Undertaker had to be put out of his misery, and Roman Reigns was just a representation of the young guys and the people who are passing him over and the people who are coming to do that. Roman Reigns was really just a representation for time, because he was the one who technically, was the one to retire him, even though he went out on his own accord. But this is never a match I'm going to rewatch for a technical marvel. It's a match I'm going to rewatch because of the storyline of it.
Yeah, definitely 100% storyline here. I feel like everything meant something. Even the tombstone reversal botch. They didn't mean to do it probably, but it did fit into the story where the Undertaker's just, he's sloppy. He's old. He's a man, and he can't get it done as much as he used to. And I think they knew that going into this match just because of the way it ended. I think they knew. Okay, Undertaker's not gonna be able to do anything.
Not do anything, but it was not.
Yeah,
he still put on like a 20-minute match. But
but it wasn't.
The storyline was definitely like, oh wow, he's kicking out of spears. He's kicking out of his finisher. Like, Undertaker might put this through, but it was his way of just like, I'm gonna fight. There's no fight to have anymore, and he gets pinned 1, 2, 3, and I just had my face like, I literally just had a blank face, like that wasn't great, but everything that happened after this was so much better than the match. Undertaker, this was like a character moment.
Yeah,
and if I ever go back to this WrestleMania 33, it's going to be remembered for the last 5 to 10 minutes and for the Hardys returning, which were 2 great moments. This didn't feel far from like a movie character going away forever. And spoilers to Logan, I had just recently watched Logan. I was getting Logan feelings off of it. Like, this is the last time we'll see this man in something we've seen him do for so long. He had a send-off, and you just saw this last final moment. He is in the ring for a while. Everyone's saying, "Thank you, Taker." Everyone hates Roman Reigns because that's already there, and now they hate even more reason to hate him. But he just sits in the ring for a while. By the way, he puts his gear on again, which was weird a little bit, just to take it off again. That's a little bit weird, but other than that, if you ignore that, he takes it off, keeps it in the ring, and you just have this image of his coat and his hat just laying there. And it did not feel that far off from the grave, spoilers to Logan, of Wolverine dead, his grave, and the cross flipped over into an X, and you just have a final shot of everyone walking away. Like, it just felt good. And it was like, it was sad, but it felt like a proper send-off to a character. I don't think it was the ultimate, idealized, perfect setup that they could have done for him to leave. I think it happened a few years late, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is probably, I said the Hardys earlier was probably my favorite return of all time. This is probably my favorite retirement of all time, because
I don't think, if we're talking emotionally, I don't think it even comes close to Ric Flair's.
Well, here's my take on it is, Ric Flair was probably more of a big deal retiring because he's been wrestling for so long.
Yeah, Undertaker.
I think
the
match
Flair
itself,
just a big deal.
The match was just it was really, really good. But what I liked about this is there wasn't a stipulation like, oh, if Undertaker loses, he has to retire.
By the way, was it announced that it was no holds barred before WrestleMania?
No, I don't think so.
All of us
actually
were surprised.
Yeah, but Undertaker goes out on his own accord, pretty much like you said. It was his decision ultimately. No one knew he was going to retire before this. They said, okay, he might. There was rumor of it going on last, which turned out to be true, and it was like, okay, he loses that, he might retire then. But no one saw that coming, and it came all at once. And yeah, it was a really, really good moment. That I sometimes those career-threatening matches are a little silly in that it's like, who's going to win sometimes, and somebody might being forced to retire. I don't think is as good as Undertaker realizing that he can't hang anymore and knowing his limits and then retiring himself. I think that was better. And just the ending of WrestleMania doesn't get any bigger than that.
Yeah, it definitely felt
he took his time. He took his time. There's that one moment he takes his hat off and he's sort of like, he takes like a deep breath because he's just relieved of his character. He's done. He goes over, he kisses his wife. That's something. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, and then he walks away, arm up, and gets lowered down an elevator, and he's gone. You have the lightning, and you have his theme, and you have a bunch of people saying thank you, Taker. It felt really good. It felt like a very fitting end to a character, and I think this is like the shining moment of the pay-per-view. It'll be remembered forever.
How mad would you be if he came back?
Come back to SmackDown just to say, hey, I wouldn't be mad because he's gonna be around in WWE, maybe not in character, but maybe like 10 years from now, but at least not for a while. Do you think Roman did well enough to be the man who puts him out of his misery? Or do you think Shawn Michaels was really the shining moment of how do you do this? I don't think Roman expressed enough.
I think there definitely didn't express enough. I think there was WrestleMania 28, and then there was WrestleMania 30. And those were the times to end it. And,
28 and 30 are when you do it, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe 29, you let CM Punk retire you to put over a young talent. Like, thank God.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think 28 is the ultimate way to do it because ultimately the streak probably shouldn't have ended, and that was the best match he's had since.
Is that the year he went 20-0?
Well, at 30 he went 21-1, so I believe so.
Then 20-0 is fine. That's the perfect way to retire, in my opinion. But yeah, what are you gonna do? It is what it is. Talk about how when he should have retired, blah blah blah. But
this was decent.
Yeah, Roman was fine in the role.
I don't know. He didn't do enough to like feel like what he was doing was like as big of a deal as what he was doing. He was just kind of standing. There were so many moments of Undertaker just laying there, and Roman just literally standing there while it happened. Like, I'm just waiting so I can do another spear.
Yeah, there's a photo of Roman crying after the match. Where was that emotion? I don't know. He was just sort of like. Yeah, I'm not saying he should cry in the middle of the ring. I'm saying though he had the emotion in him. He could have expressed it better.
He should have stood there like eyes wide open, like, do I do this? Yes, and then he goes, yes, I should, and then he does it. He was literally just kind of standing there in between spears, like, time for another spear. Boom, he's up again. Oh, time for another spear. Oh, he's up again.
Yeah, it depends what kind of character they're going for with him, though.
We'll have to see.
We'll see.
Definitely not an ultimate face. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, if he's just Samoan badass, then I guess it made sense. But if he was supposed to be top babyface, they failed hard. Ooh. And if he's supposed to be top heel, I don't know about that either.
Yeah, I am not under the impression that this was a carry the torch match. It just didn't feel that way.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way at all. Yeah.
It felt like, oh, this is just another one of Roman's opponents. Personally, other than the moment after the match ended, obviously, because the feud. I don't know if you remember, how only had 3 weeks of build. So
yeah,
you can include the Royal Rumble, but it still took a few weeks until like after Fastlane until they actually did anything with it. So. If they were going to have Undertaker retire, they really should have maybe built a feud around it. But whatever.
Yeah, like you said, Roman didn't represent Roman though. He represented the young, like the new generation. It wasn't about him.
Yeah, I really loved it for like storyline character purposes because that is what wrestling is about at times at the end of the day. So give it to that. Definitely felt like a character moment. And this is one of the last true characters wrestling has. It's not a white guy who has a first name and a last name. It is a character. You know what I'm saying? Like his name is the Undertaker. His name's not like Mark Calloway. His name's not Kevin Owens. His name's not Chris Jericho. It's not Seth Rollins. It's not just a guy with a first name and a last name. It's like this is a character and he has a gimmick and they don't break that.
Yeah.
And it felt like a character. It felt like there was an arc. It felt like there was a storyline. Just maybe not the one that it should have been. They think they should have ended it at 28. Shawn Michaels, one of his greatest opponents. Triple H, one of his greatest opponents, all in the ring there to end his career. That would have felt really right, in my opinion.
20-0.
Yeah, and also, I don't agree with the argument that Triple H couldn't beat him, Shawn couldn't beat him. This is them saying Roman's better than all of them. No, because Undertaker faced them in his prime. He had one of the greatest matches of his career in 2009 against Shawn Michaels. He did not have the greatest match of his career right now with this. So that's prime Undertaker versus very, very botchy old Undertaker. So no, they're not trying to say Roman's better than them.
Those people didn't watch. They just read the results.
Yeah. Maybe
assumed
Brock Lesnar. I mean, Undertaker still wrestle at that point because he had a really good match with CM Punk the year before that. But there was definitely a time to end it, and maybe this wasn't the time because it's not like Bray and Shane. Undertaker needed to keep his career afloat for those matches because those didn't matter. Like those are just matches. Like those aren't going to be remembered as the Undertaker matches. But definitely one of the biggest WrestleMania moments ever. Because it is one of the
super special.
I don't know. WrestleMania is the Undertaker, so this is never having him in WrestleMania ever again is going to be weird.
Big moment.
Big
Huge
moment. Big moment. It just, we all saw it coming. Knew it was coming one day. Was this how we visualized it? Probably not. If they did John Cena this year, maybe that would have been Roman. I think it's rumored that Undertaker wanted John Cena to do it, but Vince said no. So could just be rumor. It could be true.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the match would have been much different with John Cena than Roman.
I just think John Cena would. John Cena, I trust more as a performer to have done it right, in my opinion. Like John Cena would have done his like face stuff, but I think John Cena would have had a moment where he sits there and really goes, "Whoa." And then John Cena would have left the building and said, "Oh, this is his time." Also, John Cena, Roman Reigns never going to be as big of a star as John Cena is, or was, or is ever going to be, in my opinion. I don't think Roman Reigns ever going to be a cross, someone who breaks out of wrestling to become a star. So, and John Cena's one of the biggest there ever was. So, I think that would have been the right choice.
Yeah, Roman is. I'd say Roman is like the head of the generation they have right now, but I think this generation is going to be more about different people. It's more about the talent as a whole. I think so.
Yeah, I'm willing to argue that Roman, at least in wrestling, is more talked about than like Jesus Christ. Literally everybody talks about Roman every fucking day.
Yeah, he's super controversial. So.
Yeah, if you're one of those people who says any reaction's a good reaction, then hey, if people really want Roman to get buried, the people who fucking hate him could do nothing when he comes out. Then you just have a few people cheering for him, and they would stop caring. Like WWE would be like, maybe we don't book him this way. But no, they keep booing, and so they say, oh, we're going to put him there because it makes Roman publicized. It puts Roman up there. So, hey.
I definitely think after this, though, it's very dumb to make Roman a face. It's very dumb. I don't... Like, I know I said, Roman doesn't have to be... he can be the heel that you don't expect... Like, that you actually expect to win sometimes, and you're scared whenever he faces someone you like. But at this point, when he beats The Undertaker, he's never going to be liked as much. And even then, he shouldn't be a face. He just shouldn't be a face at all. And it doesn't help when... It certainly doesn't help when the commentators are being like, oh, they're always, Raw after WrestleMania, it's a different crowd out there. They're always, cheering, or they're booing for people they normally cheer, and vice versa. No, that's not what this was. This everyone boos Roman Reigns at this point. They're making up excuses. It's pretty dumb. I don't think they should do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be cut and dry one way or the other. There won't be a moment where you go, oh man, Roman's face. I mean, Roman's heel now. Like, I think they're just going to keep going with what they have right now and not just have it be one way or the other. Because even for the past few weeks, has Roman been 100% face? Not really. Like, he's been telling one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time, a veteran, disrespecting him and telling him, this is my area, this is my yard, like this is my place, like get the fuck out of here, old guy. That's not a very face thing to do. So you can't even I'm not saying I'm just saying in general, like it's hard to act like he's like just the biggest face in the world.
Booking wise though, he is still a face. He fights bad guys, he teams up with good guys. He's probably gonna face Braun Strowman at Payback or whatever. Brock Lesnar's a heel, and he's the face.
Brock Lesnar's a heel, but God, he's so over. Like,
yeah, people love him. He's great. I hope he gets. That match with Goldberg was great. I have good hope. I have high hopes for him. But rumor is he's not going to be around for Payback. So never mind that.
He has a 30-day clause. He has to defend the title.
I think they're ignoring it again, like they did last time.
Awesome.
Yeah,
gotta love that.